Hello everybody, hope y'all are doing well. Just come out here. I'm going to be starting my next project as far as the infrastructure for the homestead, and that is a chicken coop I'm needing. I'd like to get it built this summer and fall so that I can start with get some chicks in the spring. So if y'all have worked around your homesteads or around your houses, you know how one project usually leads to another. What I'm planning on doing is putting the chicken coop right in this area. It's going to be 8 feet long, 6 feet wide. I'll have a totally enclosed run at both ends for the chickens to be in. If they're running and I'm not home or whatever, I don't have to worry about predators as much. So I'm going to have like a 10 by 10, 10 by 12 run on each end. And the plan is part of the year, I can open that run up and I can let the chickens on the off season into my garden area, which is this area here, which is surrounded by this fencing. So part of the year, I can let them out. They can run in here and help clean up bugs, till the soil and everything for the garden. The other part of the year, I'll have them in a smaller run area and in the enclosed run on the other side. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see it as I go along how we're doing it. But of course, the first thing I need to do is I have this wire here, which is like, what is that, 5 by 5 squares? It's like hog wire. And at one time I had pigs, and that was put in to keep the pigs out of the garden. I also like buried the bottom 6 inches of it so the pigs wouldn't be rutting around and end up underneath it. So if I'm gonna have chickens running in here, that's gonna be too big. I'm gonna have to go with like a 2 by 4 square so the chickens can't just run in and out of the garden area. So first project is, of course, I've got a little bit of mess to clean up too, but I need to pull this wire off at least on this half of the garden and roll it up out of the way so I can start the chicken coop. And then before I can have chickens running in here, I've got to take that off all the way around the garden and replace it with some I think I'm gonna go with the 2 by 4 rectangular squares. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. So today I came out here, it's in the afternoon. I thought if I could at least get started by pulling some of this wire off and getting it out of the way, and then I'll level out an area. And I think what I'm gonna do is go with a concrete floor in the chicken coop. My brother raises chickens, has for years and years, and he's like, boy, he's got one section that has concrete in it and another section is just dirt run, and he's like, it's so much easier to clean that concrete side off. So I think I'm gonna go with that. It's a little bit more of an investment, but you know, if the chicken coop's gonna be here for years and years, I might as well do it right the first time. So anyway, I'll show you the projects as we go along. Of course, you'll want to save any of these fence staples to use later or on another project. It's one way to save money, you know, save these little things. It might seem kind of insignificant, like you might just pitch them, but any little thing like this you can save around the homestead, you're saving money. You'll use it one day for sure. These posts kind of need replacing anyway. They've been up for about 5 or 6 years, and they're getting a little wobbly, so probably a good idea to replace them since I'm taking all the fencing off of it anyway. Wouldn't be a bad time to do it. I just made these out of cedar off the property here. And the cedar works good for several years, but it doesn't last forever. And we'll save all this wire also, of course. We won't pitch it. We'll save it and use it somewhere else later on. So that's basically what I'll be doing. I'll just go all the way around, take the fence staples out and save them, and then roll up the wire eventually once we get it all off of here. We'll just roll it up in a big roll and then save it. Taking all these little metal clips off of the T-posts, and they are sometimes a booger to get off, and they're not really much good to reuse later because you twist them up so bad trying to get them off the T-posts. But you do want to get them off, not just leave them half attached, because they can fall off, end up in your tractor tire or something like that. Years back, I had one of these get hooked in a horse's hoof, and it went in and got, of course they're not straight, so it gets twisted. Luckily the horse was patient with me getting it out, but it was quite a project. So you sure don't want these things laying around. They're just mean. So anyway, I'll take a few more off here, and then I'll get the wire up out of the dirt. Like I said, it's buried in about 5 or 6 inches. And of course now the roots and everything have grown over that. It's been like this for several years. So pulling it out isn't very easy. I'll probably end up actually getting a tractor and maybe helping coax it up out of the ground very carefully, so I can get this whole thing rolled up and saved away somewhere. Okay, as we're making a little progress here, it might be a little easier to see what's going on. I pulled all the wire off the fence line, at least on this side, pulled it all out. I took a few fence posts out at this end because the chicken coop is going to run 8 feet this way, just on the other side of where the fence was. And there'll be a 10 by 10 run on this end, in where the grass area is, and then there'll be a cross fence somewhere near the end of the plastic. That will give the chickens one side to run, like when the garden is in and I can't have chickens running around in there. They'll have about 25 foot by 30 foot outdoor run area, and then about a 10 foot by 10 or 10 by 12 indoor run area. Not so much indoor, let me say it's totally enclosed anyway. There's no roof on it, but enclosed with chicken wire that the raccoons and stuff can't get to the chickens. Then they'll have the chicken coop to go in at night. Then on the season that they're allowed to run in the garden, on this end I'll put another about a 10 foot by 12 foot chicken wire fence enclosed area, and with the door opening up, and then they can use that enclosed area, and they can also run in the garden area. So as it takes shape, it'll be a little easier to understand. I was talking with my brother, and we're thinking about during the season when the chickens can't be in the garden, in the growing season, possibly growing corn in the totally enclosed area that the chickens aren't using. That way, the raccoons can't get to the corn, because we've grown corn before, and 1 or 2 nights with the raccoons, they'll wipe you out completely. So that's kind of the thought there anyway. Plus, I do want to get a dog, a guardian dog for the farm to help protect the animals, keep the raccoons and everything at bay away from the homestead. So anyway, that's the plan. As we're going along, I got it kind of smoothed out. We're making a little progress now. Okay, we have our concrete form ready. 6 foot by 8 foot. Should be big enough for a dozen chickens or so. And next step, I got to get some rebar put in there and some anchor bolts. And then we'll get some concrete this week and get working on it. Okay, I've got just about everything tied off here. I got a little short piece to fill in here and one over here. I'm just gonna use some rocks underneath these to hold it up. You don't really need the little rebar stands. I'm gonna do that. And I've got it all pretty well leveled off with gravel underneath. Got the forms leveled and straightened. I got, like I said, a little piece here to fill in. When I'm pouring the concrete, I'll just double check, make sure the rebar's up inside the concrete, not down underneath it. And we're getting real close. I believe next time we'll be able to pour some concrete here and get this project going. Well, everybody, I'd say we got quite a bit done. Got kind of rained out here this afternoon, but we got the fencing out, rolled up, fence post pulled out, leveled out. I didn't mention I stole the gravel off the driveway in order to level a spot. Got the form boards up. I'll go ahead and pull those, or rather cut the tops of those wooden stakes off so the screed board can run smooth across the top. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Next week, we'll start pouring some concrete and we'll get anchor bolts in there and we'll be seeing the coop go up pretty quick. So until then, I hope to see y'all down the trail.